I'll never forget the night when the second wave of grief came crashing down around me. We were at a friend's house, and Heath and I were in the hot tub, and somewhere out of nowhere, I had this realization that I was not going to make a bonus that year. I'd been in sales, and the past 3 years had been incredible. It was one of those times, I don't know if you've experienced this, where everything just sort of fell into place. It was like all the stars were aligning after so many years of searching for them and wanting them to. Heath and I got married. We bought a house in California. I got a job that I was making more money than I had ever dreamed as a teacher. And we were pregnant with our first baby. And it just didn't seem like anything could get better. And then it got worse. We lost our son in childbirth, and my work changed dramatically. And I had this realization that I wasn't going to make a bonus, and we were going to go back to living on just my salary. We live in North County of San Diego, which is not a cheap place to live. And all of the thoughts came flooding in. Why me? How is this happening? We can't handle any more than we're already dealing with. How are we ever going to survive this? I remember thinking we might make it 1 year on the savings that we had. I just couldn't believe it. And I cried. I mean, I sobbed that night, and I was alone again in my grief. I was surrounded by all these loving and kind people, but I knew that I was going to have to figure this out on my own. And the weeks passed, and I started to pay close attention to my thoughts, because what I realized is that when my thoughts turned negative, so did everything else. All the fear and all the anxiety arose. And, when you go through an extreme tragedy, the sadness is something that you can handle. The sadness is something that is important to feel. But that anxiety and fear, there's just no place for it. It's too much. And I started paying attention to where my thoughts would go. And when they started to lead me down and increase fear and anxiety, I had to pay attention to what my thoughts were telling me. Things like, you're never going to make it. You can't do this. This is too hard. You'll never make it out of this. So what did I do? Well, I started looking at my thoughts and my circle of control. Back then, I didn't even really know that that's what I was doing. But since then, I've done a lot of work to understand what I did so that I can pass it on to others and help. The circumstance was Jack died. We couldn't do anything about that. And the second circumstance was I wasn't going to make a bonus that year. And I literally knew there was nothing I could do to reach that high goal that had been set for me. So what did I have control over? I had 100% control over the thoughts that I let my mind think. So why do I bring this all up today? Well, because I think a lot of people are struggling with this same exact thing. This pandemic is a circumstance. Many of you have lost your jobs. Many of you, your husbands or your wives have lost their jobs. And I can imagine that there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of anxiety arising. So I ask you, what are you allowing yourself to think? Do you have a mindset of lack and fear and anxiety? Or do you have a mindset of abundance and belief that you can get through anything? I realized all those years ago that I was resilient. I would do anything I could to get myself out of that situation. And we did. And to be really transparent and honest, I have still not made a bonus. And we are still living on one salary. And it's been 4.5 years. But we have made it through. And the things that I remember back on those times are not the struggle. I remember all of the things I did to make our lives beautiful, all of the gratitude that I created, all of the beauty that I created, and all the streams of income that I didn't know where they were going to come from, but they did. And so much of that had to do with my mindset. So if you are struggling in this area and are interested in learning more about shifting your mindset, please reach out to me and take advantage of my free 45-minute consultation I would be honored to share what I know and what helped me get through the darkest time in my life. Thanks. I hope to speak to you soon.